Welcome to the House of Orange Live. This is Frank Rock. Appreciate you tuning in with me. I'm going to just kind of do this as my normal post-game video like I would normally do. And then, we'll see what the viewership's like. We got people tuning in and comment on here. I'll keep going on. If not, I'll wrap this thing up pretty quick. But so I'll just proceed as it's the normal way. But, before you get into it, make sure you hit that like button, that you share that content. If you like the content, you haven't already, it'd be nice if you subscribe to the channel, or hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Hope you like the content for that as well. But Tennessee wins 10-0. They get the bats going a little bit tonight as, they come out of the gates hot. They come out of the gates with their scoring. Right out of the gate, 5 runs, get 2 in the third. They get 3 in the sixth. So it was kind of almost every other inning. Of course, they went 2 innings, fourth and fifth without. A lot of guys got at bats tonight as well, but I think you had to be pretty encouraged by what we saw out of Tennessee and their offense tonight. Also, got TK in here. TK says, "Go Big Orange, GBO." All right, yes, sir, absolutely. As Tennessee gets prepared for the weekend going in South Carolina, I thought it was a good night. I was hoping to see a night from them to where they really got the offense going. And we saw, let's see, let me just kind of share my screen here. We'll look at the stats together on this. Let's see where we at here. Here we go. Tennessee 10, Belmont nothing. Here we go. Christian Moore 1 for 4 with an RBI, had a stolen base tonight, 2 runs scored. Bradkey Laurie come in for defensive purposes later on. Blake Burke 1 for 3 tonight. Only 3 strikeouts tonight. Backus, Curley, and Ethan Payne. I think you'll take that on most nights. Billy Amick 2 for 3, an RBI, a double, and a run. He was close to having a home run on the one, hit it off of the wall. Of course, Ethan Payne pinch hit later on, when at first he was 0 for 1 with the strikeout. Kavaris Tears 1 for 3 with the run scored. Reese Chapman came in for him later on, and Chapman 1 for 1 with an RBI, with a run, and hit a bomb. He crushed that bomb that he hit tonight. Good for him. Hopefully that'll get him going a little bit as well. Dylan Dreiling 1 for 2. He had a double, 2 runs scored. He had a walk on the night. Charlie Taylor was 0 for 1 with a fly out in his pinch hit appearance as he went to catching later. Hunter Inslee 1 for 2, 3 RBIs. Just missed a home run for him as well. He had a double, 2 runs scored, and a walk. And Teagle come in, no at bats for him. Curley 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a walk. Looks like he got on by an error as well. Moore had gotten on his 1 for 4, his first at bat of the game. He actually started out, and I think the Belmont guy was actually playing a hop, and it did not hop for him. So Moore ended up getting a second on it, and of course he came around to score on Amick, hitting it to the fence as well. Cannon Peebles 1 for 2. He did have a sac fly as well. Or I'm sorry, 0 for 2 with the sac fly and an RBI. Colby Backus got the start at DH, 2 for 3. 2 RBIs, did have a home run tonight. He did have the 1 strikeout looking. But, Backus gets a lot of at-bats during the week. And then they gave him the 1 at-bat against Florida and pulled him. I think you got to give him a little bit more of a chance on the weekend. I really do. I know Chapman hit a bomb tonight. They're giving Villeneuve at-bats. Bradkey Laurie getting an at-bat here and there on the weekend. But if you're going to talk about Backus earning at-bats, you need to give him those at-bats. If you're going to put him into that DH spot, at least see what he can do a little bit. 1 at-bat is not enough on that, and that's my problem with the DH role right now, is how they're just going through these guys during the game so quickly. And I don't know. I think you got to give somebody, if you're going to put them in, give them that opportunity, unless they're just doing stupid stuff up there. Maybe they are. Maybe the at-bats are calling for that. But that's something I would like to see a little bit more of an opportunity out of Backus on there as well. So got 8 of us in here. Like I said, we'll see how long it goes on it. If you know anybody that sports fan, UT fan, or whatever, send it out to them. Have them tune in, see what they think about the channel as well. Always open to constructive feedback on it. I've had different feedback. Now, one thing it is, with my channel, I am who I am. I'm not going to be perfect. There's going to be the occasional drop of a word. All right, it just is. It's why I don't make it suitable for children on here. I hope everybody can watch it and listen, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm just going to be belting out words left and right. But it's kind of part of. I'm not saying it's just part of the channel. It happens. Okay, it's going to happen, especially in a night where the outlaw comes out or something along those lines. But any constructive feedback to how to make the channel better. All right, how I talk or what I use, language I use, or whatever. It's just part of it. So, any ideas you have, something you may want me to cover, some series to do, I'm all ears on it. I've got some pretty good ideas right now. I think I'm getting ready to start a football series. I'm going to go past, present, future, each position, kind of look at least in my lifetime. I can't go back prior to my lifetime and accurately talk about quarterbacks or running backs who played before my time who I've not accurately seen. But in my lifetime, kind of ranking them, going from there, and looking at what Tennessee currently has present, look at what the future looks like. That's kind of where I'm leaning with football, as I am kind of a big guy on doing series. So I hope I can come up with that as well. Maybe some stuff with basketball. I've jotted down a bunch of ideas earlier in the week to look at. So, appreciate you guys tuning in for baseball. Baseball, it is what it is. So with the coverage, especially the midweek games, hopefully continue to build on that a little bit as we go as well. But South Carolina this weekend will be live after all three games on that. So hopefully we'll have some good turnouts, and then SEC tournament and the regional, super region. Hopefully we get to super regionals as well. Going forward, I'll be live after each game, and I'll try to provide just some stuff here and there on it with baseball. Try to get us ready for that postseason. But getting back to the game tonight as well. So the offense, they took care of business. Hopefully they can continue. I think they have an opportunity this weekend to do some really good things against South Carolina. Georgia, of course, Georgia is red hot right now. Georgia is absolutely red hot, and they have one of the best offenses in the nation as well. I'm hoping tonight is a jump start for Tennessee in that I just really don't think South Carolina has that great of a pitching staff. And I think Tennessee can feast on these guys. I really do. And, if Tennessee's pitching staff's not on, South Carolina can hit as well. Don't get me wrong on that. But I think Tennessee has a real opportunity this weekend to put some runs on the board. And I think they have a real opportunity to possibly get a sweep this weekend, and an opportunity to possibly do some run rolling this week as well. So, we'll see how it goes. That's to take nothing away from South Carolina. They are a good team. I just think Tennessee's better. And I think South Carolina's weaknesses are Tennessee's strong suit. And again, I don't think they're that great of a pitching team. So, looking at it for this weekend, I'll go through the scenarios on how this thing could play out with the SEC standings as well once we kind of break down more of the game here. But let's see, get back to it. Talked about the offense. Let's look at the pitching. They threw the guys for the most part tonight that I want to see. It's the guys I think could possibly. Now, I don't know about J.J. Garcia, Austin Hundley, Derek Schaefer. I don't know if that's guys they're right now going to use on the weekends or stuff. It's not that they couldn't help on the weekend. But if you look at like Schaefer, he's got a 7.27 ERA, Hundley 4.85, Garcia's is 3.00. Each of them, around 9 innings, give or take. 9 1/3 for Garcia, 8 2/3 each for Hundley and Schaefer. The three guys I really want to see through the week and see them make those strides are Dylan Loy, Matthew Dallas, Marcus Phillips. Phillips had an awful outing last week, and he had a good outing tonight. Loy, 2 2/3, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. J.J. Garcia went 1 1/3, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Matthew Dallas, 19 pitches, 1 inning. He gave up 1 hit but had 3 strikeouts. Marcus Phillips, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. And the positive for me for Dallas and for Phillips, no walks. Austin Hundley went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, had a strikeout, and then Derek Schaefer got a fly out to end the game there as well. So I think when you get to the postseason, and as you keep going long, you don't know how long, especially you start with the SEC tournament. Who knows how long Tennessee goes in that tournament? The longer it goes, the more pitching you need. I would really like to see those guys like Loy and Dallas and Phillips pitch against those top tier lineups in the SEC tournament. I think you're all right to run out your regular lineup for the most part. Maybe you kind of change out that DH, get some guys some at bats. I think we're kind of seeing where they're going with it. I've been a proponent for getting Antigua into the lineup. I think it's a pretty much a foregone conclusion. That's not going to be the case barring an injury. So really your DH spots will come down to Chapman, Villeneuve, probably Bargo, maybe Backus. I think that's going to be your main guys at this point who are going to kind of go for that DH. Your outfield set, your right side of the infield set, your infield set, your catcher is set. Now it could be Cannon Peebles as well, which honestly, that's probably who I go at DH because we know, I think it's pretty much in stone Cal Stark is going to catch at this point. Now, I think you risk, if you play too many games in the SEC tournament, you're going to have to give Stark, either move him to DH and let Peebles hit, or you're going to have to give Stark some days off. I don't think if they go deep into that tournament that you want to risk running him down. Tony Vitello said it in the preseason. They want to kind of mix it up with the catchers because they don't want to wear them out getting to the end of the year. They want them to still have their legs about them. Miles, what's up, man? Thanks for being on here. Go Baseballs. Keep having good at bats and limit strikeouts and see where the baseball gods takes us. Much better approaches tonight for sure. Look much better. Look much more smooth. And of course, we all know Belmont. It's not, Vanderbilt's pitching staff by any means or any of the others that they've seen. But you got to take what you get on it. Tennessee did that tonight. They made strides. At-bats looked so much better. I mean, Sunday was some of the worst at-bats of the year. And Tony Vitello in the postgame talked about how they just had awful at-bats, awful approaches. And, he's not wrong. He's telling the truth on it because there was just so many, especially when you had guys first and second numerous times with nobody out, and you could not even move those guys. That's just sorry at-bats. It just is. And especially when sometimes you just got to make that adjustment and put the ball in play. Easier said than done. I know it. I know it's easier said than done on it. But still yet, these guys are playing at the University of Tennessee, one of the best baseball programs in the nation. They should be able to make adjustments to their at-bats. You've got to be able to do that a little bit. And I think these games where it's gotten really ugly for Tennessee, that's been the problem. I don't know the reasoning for it. I don't know any of that along the way. But, that's something they're going to have to do if they're going to go deep in the NCAA tournament. Blaine says Backus needs his shot at the D8. I don't disagree, man. He's looked good during the week, and Tony Vitello's talked about that. And then he got the one at bat against Florida, one at bat, and then they pulled him out. And they said something about, well, we knew with the guy throwing off speed stuff, that was just, it wasn't his night to do. What about these other guys that are in doing the same thing? We're pulling. I don't know. He's got a weird hook with guys, and easy for me to say sitting here watching it versus being in that dugout, being out there on that field every day. It's easy to kind of critique when you're not out there with it. But I think I would like to see Backus get a shot too. Give him a game. Give him at least a game to get comfortable. If somebody's looking over if you're going to be looking over your shoulder, if I make one mistake and I'm pulled, sometimes you overemphasize and you overtry, if that makes any sense. And, I don't know what they're told going in as far as, I think they're told for everybody to be ready. So you pretty much know who's not going to be pulled, and that's not any of your guys who are in the field. So that pretty much narrows it down to your DH. They're going to have to be on it. I mean, if they walk or they have a productive at bat, I think they're going to go on. They have a bad strikeout. I mean, Tony's been pulling them on it. I would like to see Backus kind of go in and get that opportunity. Give him a game. Give him Thursday night against South Carolina and see what he can do. He's got pop. He's got power. I mean, he showed a knack earlier tonight. He went the opposite way with the ball. How many guys on Tennessee's team do you see do that on a consistent basis? I mean, there's some guy, Dylan Dryling's probably one of the best for being able to aim it, can do it. Give him some time. I mean, Blake Burke was doing it earlier in the year. Blake Burke's, his average has dropped a lot. I'm hoping he's getting it out of his system and can get back going. But we really need him back to where he was spreading the ball around. So I'm not sure, what's going. I mean, baseball's a game of slumps. It happens. But I would like to see Backus. Give him a shot. Give him a fair shot like you've given these other guys on the weekend. See what he can do. Because these other guys that keep getting put in have had numerous opportunities, and they've done nothing with it. So let's see what Backus can do. At least give him a game. See what he can do. I would even venture to say give him a weekend. See what he can do on it and go from there. Now, the matchup calls for it. Pinch hit for him. But otherwise, give him a shot. This could be a good team in South Carolina to give him a shot, see what he can do against with them. If you get to, and I was talking about the pitching a little bit earlier, I wanted to go back to that one. If you get in the SEC tournament and you go for, I'm not really for throwing Causey, Beam, or Snead a ton of pitches in the SEC tournament. Maybe if, it comes their time for a bullpen, get them their bullpen in, and then pull them out. Give some other guys opportunity. I would like to see your Loys and Dallas and Phillips against these SEC lineups, especially you get deeper into it. Now, if you want to keep your rotation on that normal swing and throw them their regular game, I understand that too. Kind of keep them in action, keep their arm loose. They're going to throw bullpens anyway. So maybe you do go with that, but I would still like to see some of these other guys get a shot against these big lineups. Now you get into the regionals, so you get, in a worst case scenario, you could play 5 games in a regional. Worst case, let's say you lose the first game by chance and you have to come all the way back through it. You'd have to go 5 games to win or even get to that F game in the regional. You're not going to be able to start back over with, you could possibly go Stamos as an opener, but then you're going to have to come back with, who knows after that. So you're going to need these Phillips, Loy, and Dallas in the event that, you do come up and lose a game in your regionals. I would like to see those guys keep taking that step to where they're ready to contribute on the weekend. Loy has been getting those opportunities. The other 2, I don't know if they're there. I mean, Phillips come in at a big situation in Kentucky and got a save. It's just that inconsistency with him. When he can finally put it together, he's going to be dangerous. But Tennessee's got a really good thing going with their pitching staff on the weekends right now. I mean, on Sunday, they gave up 3 runs. That should be enough with this offense to win the game. Vanderbilt shut them down, though. That opener philosophy is interesting, and that, you get some inconsistency out of some guys with it. You're really relying on Causey and Snead. You kind of know on Friday and Sunday, those guys are going to throw a lot of pitches. Of course, Snead come in and closed it out on Saturday. But it's an interesting philosophy. It's still kind of new. It's something I'm still kind of getting used to a little bit. But, we've seen it with Causey. He had 2 really bad outings in a row since they've gone to Stamos as that opener. I mean, Causey's been very good. He has been very good. And Snead, I mean, he's for the most part done his thing all year. His ERA is under 3. That's pretty impressive in Southeastern Conference play for sure. So I think it's just looking to continue to build that. And again, those guys I specifically looked for tonight was Lloyd, Dallas, and Phillips. I think those are the guys most likely. The deeper you go into a tournament, the more games it gets into, that those guys may be the ones that you need to. Now, best case scenario, you go into regionals and you win 3 games and you're done. You use your normal openers, your Drew Beam in game 2. If they stick with that rotation like they're going, you get to the super regional. I mean, you're going no more than 3 games, whether you lose a game or not. Um, then if you get to Omaha, now that could be a different story in that altogether. But I still think you need a couple more guys just in case you need them for that weekend. But that's kind of what I'm looking. That's kind of what my observation on that. Now the weekend, so it's a Thursday through Saturday series this weekend. Let me see if they've got the game time. I'm assuming Thursday night's going to be 7:00. That's kind of the normal time on that. So Thursday through Saturday series are, I don't know, I always think they're fun. When I've gone to them a couple times, those Thursday night games, it just seems like, I don't know, that's kind of your Friday night. So it just seems like there's a little, I don't know, a little fire in the air, I guess, to put it. But I don't know, those always seem like cool games. Seems like everybody's amped up a bit on those. Friday night, of course, you'll get, I'm pretty confident you'll go Stamos, and then there'll be Beam on Friday, and then Saturday will be, I would think, your combination of Sechrist and Snead. Friday night, Stamos, Causey. I think that's where they go with against South Carolina. Ideally, I think out of Stamos, you get him close to 3 innings. I mean, in a perfect scenario with Sechrist, you can get about 5 out of him. But, funny thing, the best offense he faced all year is the one he got, into the 6th inning on. So that's kind of a funny thing how that worked. I'm still trying to pull his schedule up here right now as we go. I know it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday on it. So I think Jones is South Carolina's main guy. Tennessee can hit him. He is very hittable, in my opinion. Again, I think it's a series this weekend, extremely sweepable. And so let's see. The times for the weekend: Thursday night, 6:30, Friday night, 6:30, Saturday, 1:00. So all the series this weekend are Thursday through Saturday. So what we'll know on that is going into the standings. So let me pull the standings up here and share them. And I'll probably get out here about the 30-minute mark. We're at 23 minutes right now. So I'll probably wrap this thing up here pretty soon. So I can kind of get to where I need to here. All right. Well, things are not working out with the old laptop right now. But anyhow, looking at the standings, Tennessee's 1 game behind Kentucky. Vanderbilt is coming to Lexington this weekend. So what Tennessee needs is, there's a couple scenarios. You got to have Kentucky lose 1 more than you lose, obviously. So if Tennessee were to lose 2 games, they could still win the East by Kentucky getting swept. Now, do I think it's realistic for Vanderbilt to go up there and sweep Kentucky? I don't. My ideal scenario that I think will happen here for Tennessee to win the East and possibly the conference, I think Tennessee has to sweep and hope Vanderbilt wins 1 game. If that's the case, that would put Tennessee at 22-8. That would put Kentucky at 22-8. Tennessee would have the tiebreaker. Now you go down to the West here. Arkansas at A&M this weekend. I think there's a good possibility you're going to see those teams exchange some games. So if Tennessee is to sweep South Carolina, I think it is realistic. I think it's I just like the matchup and how it goes. I think Tennessee will stand a good shot to win the conference this weekend. I like their chances to sweep South Carolina. And hopefully Vanderbilt's good enough to get 1 from Kentucky. Kentucky's a good team. They are a good team. So I don't think that's a given that Vanderbilt goes up there and gets a game from them. I don't think that's a given. I could see Kentucky sweeping Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt's going to have urgency. They're going to have that sense of urgency because they may be sitting watching at the house. If not, every game to Vanderbilt, they need to play like their season is on the line. We need Vanderbilt to play like their season is on the line this weekend for Tennessee. This is one time we need Vanderbilt. I think we want to be Vanderbilt fans this weekend for Tennessee to win the conference. Now, that would obviously set up for seeding-wise in the conference tournament. You all know my opinion on the conference tournament. For me, I look at it more getting reps in. But, I mean, I look at the last few years of who's won that conference tournament. they've not made it to Omaha. Vanderbilt went out in the regionals last year. Tennessee 2 years ago was put out by Notre Dame in the Super Regional. Arkansas the year before that when they had Kevin Kopps. NC State come back and double dipped them in the regional and put them out, which was a big surprise. I just don't think taxing your team on that weekend's working out with it. And I think a bad thing with it as well with Hoover, it seems like you get weather. You get weather. Games go into the middle of the night and stuff. I just can't imagine what it's doing for these teams. And I know there was talk about possibly moving that somewhere where a dome stadium and people's like, oh, you can't, it's Hoover. If Hoover is costing your teams opportunities, then so be it. But I mean, LSU won the national championship. The Southeastern Conference is winning the national championship about every year. So it's obviously not keeping them from winning the conference or the national championship. But I don't know. Hopefully they'll get good weather this year as well. In a perfect world, I would like to see them all go in there, just go to town on one another with these offenses, these pitchings. I'll see what they have, and it not affect them for the NCAA tournament. Fact of the matter is, it probably will. I'm curious to see what the projections are. I don't know if D1. Let me see if they have any projections today on it. Of course, Tennessee number one again. I don't know who they have paired. At one point, it was Wake Forest. I don't see, at this point, I don't see Wake Forest matched with Tennessee unless they were to get to Omaha. That's the only way, especially after Wake Forest, what they did to Clemson this past weekend. I just can't see it on there. Aaron, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for always being on here and supporting the show. Really appreciate that. And really appreciate you guys who are in here. We're up to about 30 right now, but I'm going to look at probably locking this thing down here just a minute. But thank you guys for your support on the channel. We're had a pretty good day yesterday as a couple things broke with. Well, one of them, I'll be honest, the Chaz Lanier stuff, I'm trying to put two and two together. There's not been a lot of concrete stuff out there. I think a lot of it's speculation from Tennessee and Kentucky side, people that cover it. A lot of your like on threes and 24/7s are really not saying much other than what they expect right now. So really the Chaz Lanier stuff, I'm trying to put two and two together. Lady Vols got the commit from Ruby Whitehorn. They've had 4 excellent pickups on it. People are complaining about the shooting on it. Let it play out. Let it play out. They've added scorers. They've added very athletic ladies. And Kim Caldwell stated they've added all players who are going to help tremendously defensively. Got to be able to score. Got to be able to play defense as well. Kim Caldwell's trying to do a bit of both on that. They've done really well, and I think they'll add more. Hopefully there'll be more news with the Lady Vols. I know the Women's Basketball Report, they're a good site on Twitter. They stated they don't think that Tennessee's done yet. And I know last week in the Big Orange Caravan, Kim Caldwell, somebody asked her about the roster, and she said we need 1 to 2 more. Well, they got one yesterday in Whitehorn. They need another. I think at this point, based on what she's saying, they could use another. It'd be interesting to see who that is. Yeah, Bob, I agree. I think it was a good pickup on it. Again, the shooting numbers necessarily look great. The scoring and the overall game, though, does. And the WBR report was analyzing the Lady Vols roster today, talking about it, and looked at where each player that's going to contribute, where they ranked. All these ladies, man, ranked pretty high in their high school rankings. So there's going to be some talent on this team next year. I think it was I Talk Hoops. That's another one I follow for women's basketball. Talked about yesterday how they've got Tennessee preseason top 25 now. That's a pretty good thing. So, and that's a lot of that is, of course, it's returning players, but it's also what Kim Caldwell's building as well. Because let's face it, that previous staff did not do her a lot of favors in terms of adding to that roster. There were some relationships with Tennessee before, but they had to rebuild those relationships. As I was reading about, Whitehorn was scheduled to visit, I think, on April 1st, and then Kelly was fired. And so she, obviously did not visit then, but Kim Caldwell come in, reestablished that relationship. Her and her staff reestablished that relationship, was able to get her in the boat. So we had a pretty good day on here with that, and hopefully with the men's team, it's Chaz Lanier watch. It's Chaz watch at this point. That's where we're at. Kentucky feels good about it. The constant in the Chaz watch is Tennessee's been the consistent the entire time. From the day after Tennessee was eliminated by Purdue in the NCAA tournament, the site started talking portal additions. Chaz Lanier was the first one I heard mention, even though he had yet to be in the portal. So there must have been something known that whole time. And there's many connections. One of the assistant coaches, I'm not sure if it's Rod Clark or which one has a connection, because he was supposedly working out with one of the assistant coaches last week. I've not seen that for sure. I've just seen it, different things on Twitter. Somebody saying he was working out with one of the Tennessee assistant coaches. So a lot of that stuff, I guess you can take it how it is on it. A lot of that's trying to piece things together because you're 24/7 on 3. I respect what they do. They don't speculate. They'll kind of put some nuggets in the message boards, but as far as reporting something, they're not going to report just a rumor. I respect that. I see what they're trying to do. And they have trust that they're trying to keep as well. If they're out here rumoring and all that stuff, they're going to lose trust of people. But we're on Chaz watch. Again, Tennessee's been consistent, mentioned with him since it was initially Tennessee, Maryland, now it's Tennessee, Kentucky. I had Kentucky fans last week chiming in. Oh, look at the history. Who cares about the history? You've got bounced two years in a row in the first round. Dalton Connect was the talk of NCAA. He was one of the talks of it this year. So I would venture to say Tennessee got more positive coverage this past year by a long shot. And Mark Pope's unproven. I didn't even know he was a coach until he got named their head coach. So he wasn't, he got BYU to the tournament, but Mark Pope versus Rick Barnes. Give me a break. Give me a break. It's not even an argument. It's not even a conversation on it. If Chaz Lanier, most of these guys who have gone to the NBA draft or the combine get that feedback to come back and work on their defense. They're not getting turned away because of their offensive games. It's their defense. That was why Dalton Connect come back. I would venture to say if Chaz Lanier does return, I have not seen it for sure, but that's a speculation. Part of it will be defense. I know in the G League Combine this weekend, he only had like 5 points in 12 minutes, but he was plus minus of 10. He was plus 10. So he had one of the higher plus rates, and he wanted to show off his defense. He wants to further do that. He wants to come in to a situation that's ready-made for him. Knoxville, Tennessee basketball, one spot right now. Tennessee's all in on him. They know they're selling to him. He's going to be the difference in that team. Kentucky's still recruiting numerous guys. He'd probably be a big part of that. He'll be a big part no matter where he goes. Where's he a bigger difference maker? Where's he go have a better shot to go win a national championship next year? Tennessee's close. Tennessee's going to have – they get Chaz Lanier, they're going to be a serious national title contender. The only problem with everybody, you're going to have to go through UConn. UConn's got it rolling right now with Dan Hurley. And, they've gotten some good pickups as well. But as far as the SEC, Tennessee's SEC champ, they actually thought it was interesting, they released the SEC schedule yesterday. And I don't know how many of you saw that, but if you happen to notice, Arkansas will be coming to Knoxville. Josiah Jordan James, I think, tagged Jonas Adu, and Adu just kind of put an emoji with a tear. I don't remember if it was a laughing emoji or what on it, but I thought that was funny. I saw that Josiah Jordan James tagged Adu in that. So Arkansas will be coming to Knoxville. Jonas Adu, John Calipari. That should be really interesting when that happens. That'll be a fun one for sure. Can't wait to do a post game and a preview on that one. But I think I've gone a little bit further. I kind of got on the basketball stuff, but I'll keep you posted. I'm trying to stay on this portal stuff as much as possible. And I would still expect where does Rick Barnes pivot in the event that Chaz Lanier goes to Kentucky? I don't think there's a backup plan now, but with 3 roster spots, you're going to have to get into that. 1 or 2 I would look for is, I know a couple times with Ziegler and Awaka, they found them in the summer. So with the Peach Jam coming up this summer down in North Augusta, it's possible, they'll be down at it. So do they possibly find somebody that's a late bloomer, somebody they see they could develop down there that could come in and help? I mean, the fascinating thing about Zakai Ziegler was they found him late, unsigned, and then he contributed immediately. I mean, he was a contributor his freshman year. That's a pretty good eye, and that shows that a lot of teams overlooked him. I think it's pretty fascinating how he was signed so late, yet he contributed a lot, especially when he and Kennedy Chandler were running together. Thought that was a pretty good lineup with them. But I'll keep you posted, anything with the rosters going forward. And like I talked earlier, I think my football, I'm getting ready to start a past, present, future series on that. Hopefully, probably first of next week on it, since I've kind of dialed in on baseball and trying to keep up with basketball right now. But hopefully you'll enjoy that football coverage. I'm excited to do that because I've never gone full blown into football coverage like I have basketball, baseball, but I think it'll be a nice element to the channel as well. This thing keeps growing. We're up at over 1130 in subs right now. So I appreciate your support, guys. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe to the channel. If you like the content down that right corner, there's always that super thanks button as well. But I'm going to wrap up on that one. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. And last but most certainly not least, well, before we do that, we'll be live Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then, as always, last but not least, go Vols.